Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, friends, and welcome to Eve Frontier. I am CCP Jotun, joining you from the digital hellscape that I currently reside in, and welcome to the Frontier. If you're new here, we're going to talk about what you're seeing, but for right now, this is a live broadcast of the riders of Eve Frontier attempting to kill a Feral Mooneater. We'll get into more about what Feral Mooneaters are here in a second as well. We are currently here in the system of Brana on the Frontier in the region of KM1 TAC Y, TAC 25. We can see here out in front of the Brana system, or rather the Brana station, the Fabricator Ukase number 1. A fleet of rider ships have begun to assemble, and we'll be watching them here shortly. They are going to be transitioning here before too long to the system of B2AK7. They have found a Feral Mooneater there. They have prepped a series of defensive turrets, and they're going to be trying to kill it. Something they have not managed to do so yet. Third time's the charm. Friends, thank you so much for joining us here on CCP TV. We don't do many public streams. In fact, we've never done a public stream of this magnitude. And boy howdy, you picked the right one to tune into today. If you're not familiar with what Eve Frontier is, we are a massively moddable multiplayer online spaceship survival role-playing game manufactured and published by CCP Games out of Reykjavik, Iceland, where I'm joining you from. This is a new project from CCP, or I shouldn't say new. We've been on the grind here for some time now, but we are ramping up our production of the game, development of the game, dramatically, and have been over the last many moons. So what you're seeing today, just to get it out of the way ahead of time, is alpha content. There are a lot of things in here that if you're familiar with EVE Online, you're going to find familiar. A lot of those are placeholder items, placeholder assets that we still have in the game in order to, facilitate certain gameplay elements. A lot of this is still going to change. Almost everything will change between now and production. So if you're not sure, this is, like I said, it's an alpha. We are in alpha. Currently, we're in the middle of our founder access period. We'll have more information about that later as well. You can go to our website at any time if you want to learn more about Eve Frontier. That is www.evefrontier.com, and you can learn more there. We also have a Discord. That's discord.gg/evefrontier. You can check that out as well. So let's talk a little bit about what's going on here. We do also have a Blue Sky. Thank you, Muffin Proof, in chat. We do have a Blue Sky at evefrontier.com on Blue Sky. Meet us there. Friends, this is a big deal. So what is going on here? So the riders of Eve Frontier, all of our players, are accumulating here in the system of Brana to try and kill a Feral Mooneater. What is a Feral Mooneater? On the Frontier, there are a variety of ancient automata who, over their many years of existence, have become strange in one way or another. And the Feral Mooneaters are no exception. The Mooneaters are ancient, massive planet-cracking and refinery stations that have gone feral. And the last attempt at one of these Mooneaters saw the entire fleet get wiped. The Mooneater is a fairly passive entity until, as the writers found last time, it was aggressed too dramatically, at which point it turned on them and, using its powerful cutting lasers, was able to effectively one-tap the fleet. So the organizers of today's event are a group of riders called Tribe Reapers. Reapers is, of course, led by their commander, Michael JD. Shout out to Shifty JD in chat. Michael JD is the organizer of these last several attempts on the Mooneater. They had a couple of exploratory runs at it, and so far so good. Although they haven't been able to kill one yet, they have gathered a lot of information. So we're going to try again today. Pretty excited about how this is going to go. We have a much larger group of players here today because we're in the middle of our free access. Well, not in the middle of our free access period. We're tailing towards the end of our free access period, where we allowed players to come in and play Eve Frontier for free for 10 days starting on the 14th going to the 24th. So that ends on Monday. If you're still interested in trying out eFrontier, you can try out for free for the next couple days. We're also doing a discount on Founder Access packs. If you are interested in playing the game long term, you can buy in one of those packs. You'll have access throughout the rest of our alpha and pre-release cycles. You can get in and try out the game. It's a lot of fun. Our players have been doing a lot of extremely cool things over the last several months, and I'm excited to get to highlight those. You can check out our socials if you want more information on that. We're active on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, YouTube, and more to come, certainly. We have a large gathering of battle cruisers and battleships here on the Undock. If you get too close to any of these, again, you'll notice that these are alpha assets. They're not fully developed, but they are very cool. And we have a large group here today, and we'll have more joining us before too long as well. So, we will be heading out here within the next 10 minutes or so. The players will be taking a series of player-constructed gates to the system where the Mooneater is, and then they'll be attempting to kill it. Now, the Mooneater itself is extremely tough. Like I said, at the beginning, it is not quite so dangerous to be around. It is fairly passive, but if you poke it a little bit too hard, it does get nasty. We can see the player ships are already beginning to warp off, which means we're going to go ahead and transition here now over to that system. We'll be back here in just a few minutes as we get set up in the system of B2AK7. I'll be back with you here in just a moment. Welcome back, friends. We are here in B2AK7 at the player-created Stargate that is one gate away from the Brana system. We should be seeing our riders start to file in shortly. Once they get here, we'll do one more transition down to the asteroid cracking operation where the Mooneater is currently residing. In the meantime, we're just going to hang out here and watch the action. Like I said, last time we did this, the Mooneater was a tough nut to crack. The players, only through a concerted effort, was able to crack through its powerful shield regeneration and got it down to about 30% shield before it went absolutely hog wild on the riders and began to smoke ships left and right, absolutely giving them the business. So, chat, good to see you. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Why can you not see the transit? Well, it's because we're using space magic to get over here. Just a little bit of fun space magic with your boy, CCP Jotun. Joker Bro, thank you so much. Wish you could be here as well. We were talking to some of the riders earlier, the event organizers, and they are in good spirits. They have a large fleet here. Now, a couple of things, interesting things about eFrontier that are new, and some things that you might see. eFrontier runs at a quarter-second tick rate, so there are 4 ticks per second instead of EVE Online's 1 tick per second. So the action is a little bit more dynamic, a little bit more fluid. Additionally, occlusion matters in EVE Online, or rather eFrontier, which is to say that if something is in front of you and you fire a gun at something behind it, you'll hit the thing in front of it before you hit the thing behind it. That includes elements such as structures, asteroids, player ships, NPCs, and a variety of other elements in space. So in the past, they had used the asteroids in the asteroid cracking operation that you're about to see to kind of take cover when the Mooneater started doing its dirty business. That is not the case today. Today they have pulled the Mooneater way far off the asteroids in the asteroid cracking operation, and looks like they're going to try and brawl. I believe the writers have set up a fleet mostly of short-range, high-damage weapons. They're going to try and get up on top of it and throw hands, as it were. Yes, brawling at 0, exactly. Shouldn't have too much trouble with it because the Mooneater is huge. There's a lot of meat to get up inside of. And here they come in mass. No escapist twitch. If occlusion matters, does it mean positioning matters more than for actually aiming? Yes, it does matter where your position does matter a lot more. There's also been some updates to our Destiny physics engine that change how the firing mechanics actually work. Depending on the orientation of your ship or what you're aiming for in space, you are either more likely or less likely to hit it. An object that you're looking at like this, you are much more likely to hit than an object that you're looking at like this or dead on like that. Again, because of those Destiny. Now, this will not be an issue with the Mooneater because, again, it is monstrous. But for player-on-player actions or player versus smaller NPCs, you're going to see a lot more dynamic action there. Can we get numbers of how many pilots we have in this fleet? Do the sound. I don't know how many pilots we have. I can only speak to how many people we have in the organization channel in our Discord. And last I checked, it looked like it was about 70. Yes, I'm getting 70 with more coming from our event organizer, Michael JD. All right, friends, we're going to do one more transit town to the where the Mooneater is. We'll be back here in just 1 second, and we will be getting the show on the road. We'll see you in a few. Welcome back, friends, and here we are. This is On Grid with a Feral Mooneater. The Feral Mooneater is a titan of the old world, an ancient, crawling, groaning automata designed to split open planetoids, suck out their good insides, and then refine them into something useful for civilizations that have long since died. But the Mooneaters are still here. The players have begun to land. We can see them starting to move down this way here now in mass, and we will be keeping an eye on this Feral Mooneater. Again, we saw the Mooneater Enraged last time at 30% shield. We can expect more or less the same today. I'll be keeping you up to date with its health figures. You can see that the players have begun to anchor, or have not begun to. They anchored ahead of time a bunch of smart turrets. These are programmable turrets, moddable turrets. Down here you can see it basically sitting right on top of them. Nobody said the Mooneater was too intelligent, but they are down here. They will be assisting with the action today, firing away at the Mooneater from below. That's these guys down here. And I believe we are away. Now, a handful of, looks like smaller NPCs have begun to spawn around the Mooneater. These are, I believe, a new addition to the Mooneater's dynamics. These are little harvester bots that follow the Mooneater around. Think of them like little remora fish on top of whales or large sharks. And they will be, it looks like, engaging these riders as well from below. Mooneater's already going after one of these rider vessels here in the center of the screen. You can see here this Karuta. It's a battleship from Proto-Droid. Again, the Mooneater does not do an excess amount of damage, certainly not at this stage. Once things start to heat up, though, we can expect it to really start giving them some gas. Zenith in chat wants to know, what does one get from killing such a foe? We don't know yet. We have not seen one die. We can only speculate about what these things will drop if they're able to be killed. We can see it down to about 90% of its shield with these ships on grid currently, and you can see it here using its cutting lasers to try and kill this battleship. Looks like this battleship will be able to tank it easily at this stage. Oh, there's a lot of smoke coming off of that battleship, so maybe I'm speaking too soon. The battleship pilot seems to have anchored, or rather begun anchoring refuges. I'm not sure what the refuge is. A player-built structure used to refit ships, among other things, and has anchored 3 of them in quick succession here. Maybe this is an attempt, like a squid that gets spooked, just dropping its refuges. Will you be able to see the health of the Mooneater on stream? Draken Kraken, no. I will be giving you updates throughout. Currently, we are at about 80% of its shield remaining. So the players are making good time. Certainly there are more of them here than there have been in previous attempts. You can see all of them kind of circling around over on this side, and more to come, I believe, are on their way. And you can see in the smaller red triangles, these are these smaller Feral Mooneaters, is what they're called in the game currently. These are the little remora fish that are going to try and defend their, basically, Mooneater mother. And yes, the Mooneater is a big lad. Does it have more shield or armor? Tiger Maul, I'm not sure. Like I said, the Mooneater they've only once been able to get through some of the shield, and I have not seen them make an attempt at the armor just yet. You can see here one of the battleships on New Frontier, the Groose, making a pass over the top of the Mooneater now. Mooneater doing a little bit of adjusting. Now, what you wouldn't expect here is that what we are looking at is the back of the Mooneater, or the longer section, the head of the Mooneater, if you want to call it that, is this bit down here at the bottom. We have more and more pilots now getting into range and beginning to do some blasting. Currently at 71% of the shield, the Mooneater is not yet disturbed. Are the turrets retrievable, or are they a spent cost? Higher brand, they are currently a spent cost. But again, these are alpha assets. I suppose, or would rather imagine that will change at some point in the future. That being said, we are in alpha, so we will be doing periodic wipes of the universe in order to continue to test new systems and new assets. The players are all made aware of this ahead of time, and they know that a wipe is coming here before too long. And when that happens, of course, all of these assets will be for moot, so they know to pull out all the stops in today's event. 10 keys. Can someone explain to me what this game is about? This is a survival, massively, what did I say before? Massively moddable multiplayer online spaceship survival horror role-playing game. I don't know exactly what that acronym is, but you kind of get the idea. It is a lot of things at one. We are still in alpha, of course, so you're going to see some weird things in here too. Those blue streaks are certainly one of those weird things you're going to see. But this is there are a lot of cool new elements to Eve Frontier. The addition of moddable structures is certainly one of them. The occlusion mechanics we've already spoken about, and a variety of other things that are still coming as well. We did a couple streams fairly recently for everybody who has signed our NDA and who has, and more streams before that for people in our Founder Access program. And those streams have helped to explain in a little bit more detail how what our future vision for Frontier looks like. And let me tell you, just speaking personally, it's cool as shit. So if you're interested in that, again, we are doing a discount on those Founder Access packs until Monday, until the end of our free access period. You can check that out at efrontier.com. Want to take this opportunity to give a big shout out to Mezek from Tribe Reapers. Mezek's birthday is today. Shout out to you, Mezek. Thank you so much for being here and being part of the universe of Eve Frontier. We are just above 50% shield here. The riders are ticking away comfortably. They don't seem to be having too much trouble here. I have not seen, I believe, any explosions. So I think most of the players who have been targeted by the Mooneater have been able to get off without too much trouble. But again, we have not quite reached that 30% mark that we were looking at previously. Nice Guy Bad Gamer wants to know, can Frontier members already write code and interact with the API? Absolutely. In fact, you can see already, aside from just the smart turrets anchored in this underneath the Mooneater that are used to, that can be programmable, their behavior can be adjusted and modded. Somebody has, I guess, in the middle of the action, begun anchoring a smart gate right on top of the Mooneater as well. It's an interesting choice. That smart gate will take 4 hours to anchor. So I'm not sure what they think they're achieving by this, but hey, I admire their enthusiasm. API documentation, all the information that you need about Frontier can be found at efrontier.com. We have a couple different sections of our website that you can check out there. We are just over 50%. Looks like we're about at 41% shield currently. I see a lot of vessels warping off. I'm not quite sure what the action is here, but more are staying on grid right now. Is the gate for scavengers to loot the field? Screaming PC? That's a good question. I do not know. Looks like this Mooneater is currently targeting this ship underneath it, a Jaw corvette. From Tribe Reapers. You can see that highlighted here. We are getting very close to the Enraged period. After this point, I believe it was going to be a bit of a DPS race for our riders. If they can get the job done, we'll see if it is possible. Harry Fart. It was ship positioning and inclusion being much more important. Is there a different control scheme, or is there still click in space? We are working on a variety of different control schemes. We have a new engagement mode called Focus Mode that allows for, we call it a more dynamic gaming experience. It's a little early to say exactly what that's going to look like, but it is very cool. Locks the camera behind the ship, gives you a more dynamic way to pilot, and there are more things coming in the future as well. Helgi wants to know, is the game still set at max one character logged in at a time? Currently, that is the case, yes. Higherbrain wants to know, what is the fleet comp? I believe currently they're using primarily Axti class battlecruisers and Karuta class battleships to try and get the job done. As we get closer and closer here to this 30% mark, we have 35% shield remaining currently. You can see this Axi down here taking the brunt of the Mooneater's aggression right now. Is this going to be a single sharded server? Hype real or high heel? Yes. Eve Frontier is a single shard. Somebody show up and headshot you? Unbelievable. I'm getting word that the players have begun some infighting and are currently calling each other as primaries. Not ideal. We do see one ship go down there in the background. This Axie here in front of us seems to be doing all right. Seems to be tanking just fine. The Mooneater, I believe, is still at 34%. So not quite hit that 30% mark just yet. Classic Eve players. Well, some habits are hard to break. Shaman, unfortunately, them's the breaks. You know what I mean? Eos Man is a state of mind. Yaramel, can you be Eos Man in E Frontier 2? Who truly can say? That's how the Mooneater wins. It sows infighting, yes. Players are making good progress here, though I'm not sure how many are left on grid. We are still at 34% shield. We do still have quite a few players left who hopefully have not begun consuming each other. That being said, the Mooneater does drop. Oh my, that was exciting. Does drop, is believed to drop rather valuable loot. So it may be that the players are now that they've gotten it down to a weakened state, are trying to pick off each other in hopes to collect that loot for themselves. Does the Moon Nibbler shoot back? Oh, it's shooting. It is shooting back. Go ahead and do a pass on one of these Karuta battleships here, right in front of us. I don't believe it is in Enraged mode yet. You'll know when it hits it. You'll know when we're there. The fireworks will kick off pretty quickly. Looks like 32% right now. 31%, sorry. We are right at the margin. And I'm getting word as well that they are switching back to firing on the Mooneater instead of each other. Good work, lads. Making good progress. No one ever said they were diplomatic. Looks like one of the groups flew in a fleet of Gruus-class battleships and started to headshot everybody in the system. Perhaps these are, you know, oh my. Yes, I believe, yep, that is exactly what's happening here. The Mooneater has enraged. You can see the pulsing of those guns indicative of the... Yep, there we go. Is going to start absolutely cleaning through these riders. Oh yeah. Yep, yep. He is big mad. 1 tapping smaller ships, I believe 3 tapping larger ships. Riders are going to really need to be Johnny on the spot with getting out of here if they get targeted, perhaps having to warp back in. Why did they not build more turrets in Ilsunda? That's a good question. I was kind of expecting them to build way more turrets than they ended up building. I think I only saw a handful down there, but they could have built as many as they wanted to. But they did not, and perhaps that's why we're seeing what we're seeing now. If they built 100 turrets down there, I'm not sure the Mooneater would have been able to get through all the players and the turrets all at time. I don't think they have time to warp. Some of the battleships might be able to warp, but the smaller ships, certainly the cruisers, the frigates, I believe are more or less getting one shot. How many nanos does the Mooneater have in the Moon Gobbler have in the lows? It's a good question. It do be swanging around though. Despite its imposing physique, the Mooneater is also an alpha asset. So perhaps one day will be a little bit less light on its feet, as it were. Interestingly, though, it looks like they have chased off most of the little Remora ships that were, or the Akinas rather, that were surrounding the Mooneater, trying to defend it. So that is good. We are currently at 22% shield remaining. This is the furthest they've ever been able to get it down to. And it looks like another fleet may have, I'm getting word another fleet may have warped in. Let's have ourselves a look-see here. Yes, indeed, we have another fleet that has warped in up above. This may be that fleet of Groose battleships that aggressed the main player fleet earlier. Ship positioning, by the way, in E-Frontier, all the more important in fleet fights. Big balls of ships not going to cut it, because every time you're in a blob like that, you risk hitting your friends on the other side of the ball of ships as you fire. So you'll see these player fleets try and fan out more than usual. The reason for that is obvious. They don't want to hit their homies. They are getting closer and closer to that the end of its shield. We're at 18% shield remaining. Now, I'm not listen, I'm not necessarily a speculating man, but I'm pretty sure I just saw all those Groose not shoot the Mooneater. I believe they may still be headhunting other players on this grid. That being said, the Mooneater continues to tick down further and further. We're down to 16% shield now. This is a marked improvement from the last time they attempted this this feat. They still have to get through its armor, but they are seemingly handling the increased aggression pretty well. Shaman, does the Mooneater shoot smart turrets as well? I don't believe so yet. I think it's still it is still only focusing players. However, it certainly will in the future, or rather will aggress anything that is aggressing it. So ostensibly, they could have just anchored a bunch of turrets and then just waited. The turrets don't do quite as much damage as player ships. Certainly, each of the turrets only has a single gun, whereas player ships can obviously fit multiple guns. However, it is a... you can just anchor a ton of them and call it good. So the squares are the good guys. The squares are the corpses of the good guys. The triangles you're seeing in space are player vessels. If you see a red triangle, that is an enemy. Or rather, in this case, an orange triangle in the case of the Feral Mooneater. Corpses are good guys, and that do be true. Interestingly, the Mooneater seems to have appeared to stop. It no longer appears to be firing. And it's just, it looks like it's T-posing now on the haters. Interesting change of behavior here from the Feral Mooneater. Are any salvagers going to come? Scorch Pro, that is a good question. The last time they attempted this, a handful of salvagers did try and come onto the grid after the fact to try and loot the corpses of the ships on, or in the Mooneater's I guess, feeding grounds, and were promptly scoped by the Mooneater, that did not like them getting too close to it. So it stayed enraged after the fact until it eventually warped away. Yeah, salvagers do be salvaging. That much is true. We are down now to very low, 6% shield remaining. They are getting very, very close to breaking into its armor, which has so far been untested. Despite the overwhelming losses so far, you can see way more squares in this view than triangles, certainly. But still enough to keep doing damage. Are they reshipping? Zenithan, that's a good question. I am not in their chat right or in their comms currently. I can only hope they are trying to reship and get back over here. Meppa, yes, the UI is still in an alpha state. We do have a variety of colorblind options, though, for players that will change the look of the UI. Some of our players were playing around with it earlier to change the UI into many different kind of garish colors. Very fun for them. Corey-34, what is a Mooneater? Well, my friend, you're looking at a Mooneater right now, as it turns out. This is a Mooneater. It is an ancient, hungry... I believe the Mooneater is now shooting turrets. Yes, it is absolutely shooting turrets. That's interesting. I did not think it would do that, but here it is. It is shooting at the turrets. It is a giant planet-cracking, reprocessing, resource extraction station that has, over its many long years of life, become feralized and now is mostly peaceful. Of course, when players show up with 70 goons to try and kill it, I imagine they're a little bit, it's a little bit less keen on diplomacy. Interestingly, the turrets do seem to be going after some of these. You can see the turrets here targeting these yellow lines are the turret lasers going after one of these player ships over here. So these turrets can be modded. They are programmable turrets. You can go in and set their behavior to change to aggress whoever you want to, using basically any criteria that you want. If you decided you wanted to program one of these turrets to only shoot people who follow, I don't know, Dunkin' Donuts on Twitter, you could do that. I imagine the behavior for these is a little bit more specific, or a little bit less specific than that, rather. But that is a thing you can do. Grandpa Vic wants to know, any hope for an Eve-like overview in E-Frontier? No, we specifically did remove the overview. The overview you're seeing right now is super early. We are doing massive revisions to this. This was just to kind of get us into a workable state. But the intent for Eve Frontier is for it to be a more dynamic, more immersive. Another fleet warping in here, by the way. Let's go check this out. A more immersive experience. The camera for most characters, obviously not for this camera ship that I'm in, is locked right up on top of the ship. You do have to do more swinging your camera around to see things in space. It is less like an RTS and more like a starfighter, kind of. Yep, this is that same Gruus fleet as before. It looks like they just warped. They are just shooting players, which is certainly a move. Imposing dominance. It is quite an impressive little fleet of battleships, though. I'm not going to deny that. Will there be raids, dungeons like Nax or MC? That's a good question. I have been pushing myself for... I mean, obviously we have a desire and intent to include all kinds of new, exciting... oh my goodness, those guns. Wow. Universe-specific content. It is a huge universe. Our final version of the universe will have 120,000 star systems. And we want to be able to fill it with cool shit for people to do. The Mooneater is stable right now at around 6% shield. One does have to wonder if these battleships would be just the thing they need to tip it over the edge and really push it into armor, but does not seem to be the case. Yeah, Anderson, man, the overview clutter is pretty intense. It's something that we're well aware of. We've been talking, of course, and it's one of the reasons why we have the this founder access period, of course, is so we can have players be involved throughout the entire development process. We want to be able to get live feedback constantly. Our servers are on 24/7, as long as they don't break, which they have. They've been pretty good about it so far. And those players have been giving us lots of good feedback. Especially about the overview. Certainly requires a lot of work still. Unfortunately for this poor Karuta down here, I believe it is going to be the next target of this fleet's aggression. The real story of this thing is this marauding fleet of battleships coming in here and kind of wrecking shop for everybody else. Between that and you have to wonder if perhaps these are Mooneater evangelists. Mooneater purists, even. Perhaps they have a Mooneater-based cult. And they are defending the Mooneater from this unwarranted player aggression. By the sound of it, the player fleet has disbanded. This group of battleships from Calamity have wreaked too much havoc on their own, and the players have called it quits. They were so close to getting it into armor and seeing what happened then. But just like anywhere else, the real monsters are the ones living among us. And in this case, it was the battleship fleet from Calamity. Hell of an attempt, though. Certainly we will undoubtedly see more attempts in the future, and you'll be seeing them live here, God willing. I'll be bringing you more and more updates from the frontier into the future. Right now, like I said before, we are in alpha, fairly early alpha, but we are continuing to develop the game. We have streams almost weekly, depending on when I put those streams together. We have a variety of other fun content for everybody. We do contests. We do, live conversations between devs and players, and we want you all to be a part of it. So if you are interested in participating in our Founder Access program, of course you can go to our website, evefrontier.com. Check it out, see what you think. You still have a couple days left of free access if you want to get in here and play around with it a little bit, see what happens. You can do that. The free access period ends, I believe, Monday at 1200 UTC. So that is on the 24th of February. We'll be doing, again, of course, more updates for content, more updates for systems here in the upcoming weeks and months, and we want you all to be a part of it. Thank you all so much for joining us. It was a blast to have you here. We'll be back next time, but until then, Riders, we'll see you on the frontier. Have a lovely end of your night and a lovely weekend, and we will see you later.